Once upon a time, of all the good days in the year, upon a Christmas Eve, old Scrooge sat busy in his office, counting money. It was bleak, biting, foggy weather. The city clocks had only just gone 4, but it was quite dark already. The fog came pouring in at every chink and keyhole, and was so dense the houses opposite were mere phantoms. The door of Scrooge's counting house was open, that he might keep his eye upon his clerk, little Bob Cratchit, who was copying letters in a dismal little cell beyond. Scrooge's fire was very small, but the clerk's fire was so very much smaller that it looked like just one coal. But he couldn't replenish it, for Scrooge kept the coal box in his own room. And so surely as the clerk came in with his shovel, the master predicted that it would be necessary for them to part. So the clerk put on his long white scarf and tried to warm himself at the candle, in which effort, not being a man of a strong imagination, he failed. Suddenly the door burst open. It was Scrooge's nephew, Fred, who had so heated himself with walking in the fog and frost that he was all of a glow. "A Merry Christmas, Uncle." "Bah," said Scrooge. "Humbug." What did you say, Uncle? Christmas a humbug? You don't mean that, I'm sure." "I do. Merry Christmas? What right have you to be merry? What reason have you to be merry? You're poor." "What right have you to be dismal, Uncle? You're rich." "Merry Christmas, what else can I be? Humbug, humbug, humbug." "Oh, no, Uncle, please don't be cross. What else can I be when I live in such a world of fools as this is? Merry Christmas. Out with Merry Christmas. What's Christmas time to you but a time for paying bills without money? A time for finding yourself a year older and not an hour richer. If I had my will, every idiot who goes about with a Merry Christmas on his lips should be boiled with his own pudding and buried with a stake of holly through his heart." "Uncle, nephew, keep Christmas in your own way and let me keep it in mine." "But you don't keep it. Well, let me leave it alone then." "Much good may it do you. Much good has it ever done you." Well, there are many things from which I might have derived good by which I've not profited, Christmas among them. But I'm sure I've always thought of Christmas time, when it's come round, as a kind, forgiving, charitable, pleasant time. The only time I know of in the long calendar of the year when men and women open their closed-up hearts freely and think of people below them as if they were fellow passengers to the grave. It's never put a scrap of gold or silver in my pocket, but I believe that it has done me good and will do me good, and I say, God bless it. Bob Cratchit, in his cell, involuntarily applauded. "Let me hear another word from you, sir, and you'll keep Christmas by losing your job." "You're quite a powerful speaker, nephew. I wonder you don't go into Parliament." "Oh, don't be angry, Uncle. Come, dine with us tomorrow." Scrooge said he would see Fred in hell first. No, he really did. But why? Why did you get married? You have no money. Well, because I fell in love. Because you fell in love? Good afternoon. I want nothing from you, Uncle. I ask nothing of you. Why can we not be friends? We've never had any quarrel to which I've been a party. So, a Merry Christmas, Uncle. Good afternoon, and a Happy New Year. Bob Cratchit let Scrooge's nephew out. In doing so, he let 2 other people in, portly gentlemen, pleasant to behold, who now stood with their hats off in Scrooge's office. They had books and papers in their hands, Scrooge and Marley's, I believe, Have I the pleasure of addressing Mr. Scrooge or Mr. Marley? Mr. Marley's been dead these 7 years. He died 7 years ago, this very night. Well, no doubt his liberality is well represented by his surviving partner. A few of us are endeavouring, Mr. Scrooge, to raise a fund to buy the poor and destitute who suffer so terribly at this time of year some meat and drink and some means of warmth. Thousands of people, hundreds of thousands, have to go without the bare necessities of life, to say nothing of ordinary comforts. Are there no prisons? Yes, plenty of prisons. And the union workhouses? Are they still in operation? Very busy. Oh, thank God for that. For one moment I was afraid from what you said that something had occurred to stop them in their useful work. They scarcely provide Christian cheer of mind or body. Sir, what shall I put you down for? Nothing. You wish to be anonymous? I wish to be left alone. I don't make merry myself at Christmas, and I can't afford to make idle people merry. I support the prisons and the workhouses. They cost enough. And those who are badly off must go there. But many can't go there. And many would rather die. Well, if they'd rather die, they better do it and decrease the surplus population. Good afternoon. There being no point whatever in continuing the conversation, the gentleman withdrew. Cratchit, you'll want all day off tomorrow, I suppose? If I was to stop you £0.50 for it, you think yourself mightily ill-used, I'll be bound. Yet you don't think me ill-used when I pay a day's work for no wages for no work. Well, it's only once a year, sir. A poor excuse for picking a man's pocket every 25th of December. Be here all the earlier tomorrow, the following morning. At length, the hour of shutting up the counting-house arrived. The office was closed in a twinkling, and Bob was off. He slid all the way down the ice on Cornhill 20 times in honour of its being Christmas Eve, and then ran home as hard as he could, pelt to Camden Town, which is quite a way, I can tell you, to play at blind man's buff. Well, Scrooge, of course, when he goes home, encounters the spirit of his former partner, Jacob Marley, who predicts that he will be visited by 3 ghosts: the ghost of Christmas past, the ghost of Christmas present, the ghost of Christmas yet to come, each of which, in their different ways, enlightens him as to the life he has led as opposed to the life he could have led. He returns to life on Christmas morning and finds himself wending his way towards Fred's house, his nephew, where he's greeted with open arms. Wonderful party, wonderful games, wonderful happiness. He was early at the office next morning. If he could only be there first and catch Bob Cratchit coming in late, that was the thing he had set his heart upon. 9 o'clock. No Bob. 1:15. No Bob. Bob was fully 18.5 minutes behind his time. What do you mean by coming in here at this time of day? Well, I'm very sorry, sir. I am behind my time. I think you are. Well, it's only once a year, sir. It will not be repeated. I was making rather merry yesterday. We had turkey, did you know? Step this way, Cratchit. Now, I tell you what, my friend. I'm not going to stand this sort of thing any longer. And therefore, I'm about to raise your salary. Bob trembled. He had a momentary idea of knocking Scrooge down, holding him, and calling to the people in the courtyard below for help and a straitjacket. A Merry Christmas, Bob, said Scrooge. a merrier Christmas than I've given you. Many a year. I'll raise your salary immediately and endeavor to assist your family in any way I can. And this very afternoon, we will discuss your future over a Christmas bowl of smoking bishop. Make up the fires, Bob. And go out and buy a second coal bucket. Scrooge was better than his word. He did it all and infinitely more. And to Tiny Tim, who did not die, he was a second father. He became as good a friend, as good a master, as good a man, as the good old city knew, or any other good old city, town, or borough in the good old world. Some people laughed to see the alteration in him, but he let them laugh, because he was wise enough to know that nothing ever happened on this globe for good at which some people did not laugh in the outset. His own heart laughed, and that was quite enough for him. He had no further intercourse with spirits, but lived in that respect upon the total abstinence principle ever afterwards. And it was always said of him that he knew how to keep Christmas well, if any man alive possessed the knowledge. May that truly be said of us and all of us. And so, as Tiny Tim observed, God bless us, everyone.